Hi, fourth grade. This is Miss Wilson again with another video. Today we're going to be rounding numbers. Now, before we get started with rounding numbers, we're going to go through the steps that we're going to be using to round. So, step number one is to find the digit that we're rounding to, and we're going to underline that digit. Step number two is that we're going to circle the number to the right of that digit, because that number to the right of the digit is going to tell our underlying number what to do. So the rule is, if that digit that we circle is between 0 and 4, so that'll be 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, we're going to keep our underlying number the same. Now, if the number that we circle is between 5 or 9, so that'll be 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, our number that we underline is going to go up by 1. And then step number 3 is change all the numbers to the right of our underlying number to 0, and everything in front of it stays the same. So let's do some problems. All right, so we're going to start with our hundreds and work our way up. Because remember, in fourth grade, we have to be able to everything to the million place value. So we have 271. And we're going to round this to the nearest hundreds. So my step number one is to find the place value that I'm rounding and underline. So we're rounding to the nearest hundreds. So this is ones, tens, hundreds. I'm going to underline my hundreds place. Then I'm going to circle. Step number 2 is circle the number directly behind it, because that number directly behind my underlying number is going to tell my underlying number what to do. And that number is 7. So let's see what 7 says to do. It says if the number is 5, 6, 7. Oh, there's my number 7. The digit moves up 1. So my underlying number is going to go up 1. So if I add 1 to 2, that'll give me 3. And then all the numbers behind my underlying number becomes 0. So that 7 becomes a 0, and that 1 becomes a 0. So what we're saying is 271 is closer to 300 than it is to 200. So those was our only choices. Let's do another one. Let's do 57,263. Now, we're going to round this to the nearest thousands. So first I need to find my thousands place. So I have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. So I'm going to underline my thousands place, because this will be the digit that I round. I'm going to circle the number directly behind it, which is my 2. My 2 is going to tell this 7 what to do. So I'm going to pull back out my anchor chart and see what the rule is for the number 2. Okay, so I found my number 2, and it says keep it the same. So that means that my underlying number 7 is going to stay the same. Now, anything to the left, to the left, to the left, anything to the left of my underlying number stays the same, because we didn't round there. So this 5 will stay the same. Now, anything to the right or behind my underlying number is going to become 0. So that 2 will become a 0, that 6 will become a 0, and that 3 will become a 0. So we're saying that 57,263 is closer to 57,000 than it is 58,000. All right, let's do another one. Let's do 376,563. And let's round that to the nearest 10,000th place. So the first thing I have to do, step 1, I have to underline the place value that I'm rounding. and we're rounding to the 10,000th place. So I need to find my 10,000th place. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. So I'm going to underline my 10,000th place. Then I'm going to circle the number directly behind it. Now the number that I circled is going to tell my underlying number what to do. So I'm going to pull back my anchor chart and I'm going to find the number 7. And 7 tells my underlying number to do what? Yes, move up 1. So that 7 is going to move up 1 and it's going to become 8. Now, any number to the left of my underlying number is going to stay the same. So that 3 is going to stay the same. But anything to the right or behind the underlying number will become zeros. 0, 0, 0. So again, I'm saying 376,563 is closer to 380,000 than it is 370,000. All right, before we do our last one, let me give you the vocabulary word for this video. The vocabulary word for this video is variable. Say the word with me, variable. A variable is a letter that represents an unknown number. So if I have A equals 5 times 7, A is that variable. It's a letter that represents the unknown number. And then we know 5 times 7 equals 35. So A equals 35. So now we know what that variable stands for, and that variable stands for 35. All right, now back to our last one. So let's do 1,725,612. And let's round that to the nearest 10,000. So again, I'm going to find my 10,000th place. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000. Because that's the place value that we're rounding. So I'm going to underline my 10,000th place. And I'm going to circle the number directly behind it. So that 5 is going to tell that 2 what to do. Now I'm going to go to my anchor chart and find my number 5 and see what that 5 is going to say to do. And it says to move up how many? 1. You can only move up 1 at a time. So that 2 is going to become 3. Now, everything to the left is going to stay the same. So my 1 million is going to stay the same. My 7 and my 100,000th place is going to stay the same. Now, everything to the right of my underlying number will become 0. So that 5 is a 0, that 6 is a 0, that 1 is a 0, and that 2 is a 0. All right, I hope you learned something in this video. It's all about rounding. Who am I closer to? That's all rounding is. Which number am I closer to? Until next time, bye 4th grade.